I still hear it sometimes, when it's really quiet, late at night. That sound, not quite a siren, not quite human voices, something in between, something that makes your teeth ache and your head pound and your brain scream at you to run. I heard it 6 weeks ago, out in the woods near abandoned Highway 47. I was hiking alone, which I know now was a mistake. But I thought I was safe. I thought the stories about Siren Head were just stories, internet horror, Trevor Henderson art, creepy but fictional. I was wrong. Welcome to the hidden path. I'm going to tell you what I saw, what I heard, and why I can't go near rural areas anymore without my hands shaking. This isn't someone else's story. This is mine. And I need you to understand. If you ever hear that sound, you run. You don't look. You don't try to understand it. You just run. I like hiking alone. Always have. It clears my head, you know. Gets me away from screens and noise and people. There's this area about an hour outside the city. Old logging roads, abandoned since the 80s. Most of the trails aren't even marked anymore. Perfect for someone who wants real solitude. I'd been there maybe a dozen times before. Never had any problems. This time, I decided to try a different route. Push deeper into the woods, see what was out there. I packed light, water, some snacks, my phone for emergencies, even though there's no service out there. Started the hike around 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Clear day, not too hot. Perfect conditions. For the first 2 hours, everything was normal. Birds, wind through the trees, my footsteps on the trail, exactly what I came out here for. Then I noticed something weird. It got quiet, like really quiet. The birds stopped, the wind died down, even the insects went silent. You know that feeling when something's wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it. That's what it was like. The forest just felt empty, held breath kind of empty. I kept walking, told myself I was being paranoid, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. That's when I heard it for the first time. Distant, barely audible, a sound like an emergency broadcast siren, but wrong, distorted, like the sound was coming through a broken speaker. I stopped walking, listened. It faded out, gone as quickly as it came. Probably just some equipment from the old logging days, I thought. Rusted machinery, wind blowing through it, making weird noises. Happens all the time in abandoned places. I kept going. 10 minutes later, I heard it again. Closer this time, louder. Not a siren exactly. It was layered. Multiple sounds at once. Emergency broadcasts, air raid sirens, and underneath it all, something that sounded almost like screaming. Human screaming, but distorted beyond recognition. My heart started pounding. Every instinct told me to turn around, get back to the car, leave. But I couldn't figure out which direction the sound was coming from. It seemed to echo off the trees, bounce around, come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I pulled out my phone. No service, just like I expected. But I turned on the compass app, marked my direction back to the trailhead. The sound cut out again. Total silence. I decided to head back. This wasn't fun anymore. This was wrong. I'd taken maybe 20 steps when I heard it again, right behind me. So loud it felt like my skull was vibrating. Emergency sirens blaring at full volume. Static. Voices. Dozens of voices, all talking over each other, words overlapping into incomprehensible noise. I spun around. Nothing there. Just trees and shadows and that goddamn sound drilling into my head. And then I saw it move. Between the trees, maybe 50 yards away, something tall, Impossibly tall, thin, moving in a way that wasn't quite right. Too smooth, too deliberate. The sound stopped. Everything went silent again. I stood there, frozen, staring at the spot where I'd seen movement. Nothing. Just forest. But I knew, something was there. I started walking, not running. Not yet. Just fast walking back the way I'd come. Eyes on the compass, trying not to think about what I'd seen. That's when the sound started following me. It would go silent for a minute, maybe two. Long enough for me to think maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe I was having some kind of episode. Heat exhaustion, dehydration, something. Then it would blast again. Closer, louder. That horrible mix of sirens and static and screaming. And every time it happened, I'd catch movement in my peripheral vision. Something tall moving between the trees, keeping pace with me. I started running. The trail was rough, roots and rocks and uneven ground. I nearly fell twice, but I didn't care. I just needed to get out. The sound kept chasing me. Sometimes it would be behind me, sometimes to my left. Sometimes it felt like it was right next to me, screaming directly into my ear. I risked a look back once. That was a mistake. It was there, maybe 30 yards behind me, and I finally saw it clearly. 40 feet tall, at least, maybe taller. Hard to judge when your brain is screaming at you that what you're seeing can't be real. Its body was thin, skeletal, rust-colored, like old metal. Long arms that reached almost to the ground, moving with this jerky mechanical motion. But the head, where its head should be, there were two sirens. Old emergency broadcast sirens, the kind from Cold War-era warning systems. They were rusted, broken, wires hanging from them. And they were the source of the sound. As I watched, the siren started turning, rotating on whatever passed for its neck, sweeping back and forth like it was scanning, searching. And then they pointed directly at me. The sound exploded. Every emergency siren you've ever heard, all at once. Car alarms, tornado warnings, air raid alerts, fire alarms. And underneath it, those voices. Dozens of them. Hundreds, all screaming, crying, calling for help. I ran harder than I've ever run in my life. The thing followed. I could hear it crashing through the forest behind me. Trees snapping, the sound getting closer and closer. My lungs burned. My legs felt like they were going to give out. But I didn't stop. The trailhead. I just needed to reach the trailhead, get to my car, get out of there. I broke through the tree line into the parking area. My car was right there, 50 feet away. I fumbled for my keys, hands shaking so bad I could barely grip them. Got the door open, threw myself inside. Started the engine. The sound had stopped. I looked back at the forest. It was standing at the edge of the tree line. Just standing there. Those sirens for a head pointing in my direction, not moving, not making sound, just watching. I don't remember driving away. I don't remember the hour-long trip back to the city. I just remember eventually pulling into my driveway, hands still gripping the steering wheel, whole body shaking. I didn't tell anyone at first. How could I? Hey, I saw a 40-foot-tall monster with sirens for a head in the woods. They'd think I was insane. So I went online, started researching. That's when I found out about Siren Head. Trevor Henderson created it in 2018. Digital horror artist. He makes these creatures, posts them online. Siren Head was one of his most popular. Tall, thin, sirens for a head, lurks in rural areas. Mimics emergency broadcasts to lure people. It's fiction, art, not real. Except People have been reporting sightings since way before 2018. I found forum posts from 2005, 2001, even some from the 90s. People describing the exact same thing. Tall figures in rural areas, siren sounds in places where there shouldn't be sirens. Emergency broadcasts that don't match any real alerts. Some people think Henderson didn't create Siren Head. They think he saw something, or heard about something, and made art based on it. That the creature was already out there, and he just gave it a name. I don't know if that's true, but I know what I saw, and it gets worse. A week after my hike, I was driving home from work, stuck in traffic on the highway, and I heard it, faint, coming through my car radio. That mix of sirens and static and voices. I changed the station. Still there. Turned off the radio completely. The sound stopped. But when I looked in my rearview mirror, there was something on the overpass behind me. Tall, barely visible in the evening light, standing perfectly still among the concrete pillars. Traffic started moving. I drove. When I looked back again, it was gone. Since then, I've heard it 3 more times. Once when I was home alone at night, coming through my TV. Emergency broadcast test. But wrong. Too long, too loud. With those voices underneath. Once in a parking garage, echoing off the concrete. I ran to my car, drove out of there without looking back. And once I woke up at 3 a.m. to sirens outside my apartment. I looked out the window. It was standing in the street, 3 stories below. Sirens pointed up at my window. We stared at each other for maybe 10 seconds. Then it turned. Walked down the street with that mechanical, wrong-looking gait, and disappeared into the shadows. I called the police. Told them there was someone outside my building. Tall person in a costume, making noise, scaring residents. They came, found nothing. No person. No evidence anyone had been there. They asked if I'd been drinking, suggested maybe I'd had a nightmare. I moved 2 weeks later. Different neighborhood. Far from any rural areas. Far from old towers or abandoned buildings. Somewhere with people and lights and noise. It helped. For a while. But I still hear it sometimes. When it's quiet. When I'm alone, that distant sound of sirens mixed with static, mixed with screaming. And I know it's still out there, still watching, still waiting. Here's what I think. And I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out. Siren Head, or whatever it actually is, isn't just one creature. There are multiple, all over the country, maybe all over the world. They're attracted to sound, specifically emergency broadcasts. Sirens, warnings. They mimic them, use them to draw people in. Some people think they're predators, that they lure victims, and that's why people disappear in rural areas with no explanation. Others think they're something else, not alive in the way we understand life. Maybe they're remnants of something, echoes of disasters, mass casualties, emergency broadcasts that went out during terrible events, somehow becoming aware, taking form. I don't know which theory is right. Maybe none of them are. But I know this. If you're out in the woods, or on an empty road, or in an abandoned area, and you hear sirens where there shouldn't be sirens, don't investigate. Don't try to find the source. Don't stand there trying to figure out if it's real. Just leave, as fast as you can. Because once it knows you've heard it, once it knows you're there, it will follow you. And the sound? The sound that drills into your head and makes your teeth ache and fills your ears with screaming. That sound stays with you. Even when it's gone, even when you're safe, it never really leaves. I don't go hiking anymore. Don't take back roads. Don't go anywhere that's too quiet or too isolated. Some people think I'm paranoid, that I saw something and my brain made it into a monster, that Siren Head isn't real and I need therapy. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am losing it. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. And I know it's still out there. So if you're driving through rural areas, if you're hiking in the woods, if you're anywhere far from people and you hear that sound, emergency sirens mixed with static, mixed with voices, please listen to me. Don't look for it. Don't try to record it. Don't post about it online like it's some cool mystery to solve. Just run, because the sound that drives you mad, that's just the beginning. What comes after is so much worse. This is the hidden path. Stay near people. Stay near noise. And if you hear the sirens, run.